Hey guys, welcome back to another video and hope you guys are doing very well. Today I'm going to talk to you about what to say on VATSIM if there's no ATC in your location. In other words, you're operating in Class G airspace, there's no tower available, you're not talking to center, you're not in Class A airspace, you're just operating in Class G where there's no air traffic control service. So for those of you who are new to flight sim and you've just want to come on VATSIM and experience some air traffic control service and other multiplayer traffic, um, you don't sometimes you don't get ATC services in some places that you fly. For an example, here we are in Key West, and if I put my Pilot client up, you can see that there's no ATC um, available for where I am. So what do you say when you come on? Sometimes if some of you have experienced this before, you come online, you're new, and you hear people talking on UNICOM frequency, which I'll talk about in a sec, and you hear some phraseology that you've never heard before. Even some of us who are used to flying in the older version of VATSIM, when they never had any CTEF or Unicom voice channel before, it was all text. It could be a bit new, and so I hope you find this video quite useful. So really, it's quite the same, except that there are certain things you have to put into your message. Um, I've taken some of this information that I've used in real life flying, and I did realize that there was, um, even though you're different parts of the world, but there's some similarity to the pattern that we use for CTEF transmission, um, and it's this. Okay, I do realize that the flow is sort of the same everywhere in the world. Um, so use this analogy or flow, whatever you call it. Um, PAI. P stands for position, A stands for altitude, and I stands for intentions. Okay, so depending on where you are, um, how far you are from the airport, your position from a certain place, location, a fix. It doesn't have to be an airport, it could be a VOR or a point of interest, a place of interest like Sydney Harbour Bridge or the Eiffel Tower or whatever. Um, and then your altitude is your current altitude, and then your intentions. So say it in this sequence: your position, followed by your altitude, followed by your intentions. So you can see here that I've written here where this is your location, or the location that you intend to fly to, or whoever you're talking to. In this case, I'm at Key West Airport, so I'm transmitting near Key West, calling up the traffic, which is everybody else that's within the vicinity of Key West, within typically 15-mile radius or less. My call sign for today, which is Cessna 778 Mike Juliet, 10 to the north, which means 10 nautical miles to the north, 1500 or 1500 inbound Key West. So this is what I would say if I was 10 nautical miles to the north, above circuit altitude, and what I want to do. Now you can add anything else, add whatever you want after inbound. Let's say if you're planning a runway 27 or touch and go or overfly, whatever, just put it after inbound. Okay, so position, altitude, intentions. So let's say for an example, if my engines are off, let's say after I've just started the engines up and I want to depart to, for instance, to Miami, which is in the northeast. So let's say if runway K27, for an example, is in use, and the winds are favoring that runway. So I'll go something like Key West traffic, Cessna 778 Mike Juliet, taxiing runway 27. Okay, that will be enough QS. You can even add, if you want to, any traffic in the area, please advise. So if anyone hears you and you're in the circuit somewhere, or they will know. Okay. Now another useful thing that you will want to add here, right before you close out your message, if you're coming inbound for the very first time, you can also add in your ETA. So let's say the time here on my clock is showing 11:34, so it's 34 minutes past the hour. Let's say if I'm 5 minutes out, just say QS traffic Cessna 778 Mike Juliet 10 to the north, 1500 inbound circuit time, or ETA 39 QS, and then close off. So that will give everybody within the vicinity an idea of where you are and what time you're going to reach. Um, if you're departing, you can say something like QS traffic. Um, let's say if you're already line up on the runway. Say something like QS traffic rolling, Cessna 778 Mike Juliet rolling runway 27 for departure to the north. QS. That's good enough. Okay, keep it short and simple. Use this phraseology PAI, pi, P, whatever you call it, position, altitude, and intentions. Okay, so to give you a better example, why not we hop into the aircraft, into the plane. We'll do simple circuits. We get started here, and you can see. What's happening to my camera? Yep. So you can have a better clue of how this all works. Okay, so let's just quickly stop the aircraft up, nothing too serious. We're gonna skip the run-ups. Um, yeah, because the point of this video is really just to show you so let's just quickly start the aircraft up. Am I forgetting something? Fuel pump, I think. Oh, yeah, fuel choke has to be in. There we go. There we go. Alright, firstly, you've got to tune to the right frequency. So on VATSIM, we use UNICOM as a common CTAF frequency, because CTAF in the real world is unique to each region or airport or location that you're flying in, so you need to know the actual frequency. But to simplify things, online on VATSIM, they've given us 122.8. Okay, so everything's all set, so we are ready to go. Okay, parking brake off. Alright, let's see what the winds are doing. Yeah, the winds are the west. Okay, so right now I'm taxiing, so I'll press the transmit button. I'll say something like QS traffic Cessna 778 Mike Juliet taxiing runway 27, any traffic in the area, please advise. QS. Yeah, just that. If you were departing IFR, you can say something like QS traffic Cessna 778 Mike Juliet taxiing runway 27 IFR to wherever you're flying. No need to be too complicated really, because most people flying the circuit, they're just concerned about the area within the vicinity of the airport, because the idea of radio transmissions is to tell everyone where you're going and keep out of the way in a nice way. Okay, we turn the transponder on. We're squawking 1200. Okay, we'll turn the mode C function on VPilot on. Now, if you had TCAS enabled, they should be able to pick up your mode C. Okay, so have a look around. There's no other traffic. You don't hear anyone on the frequency. You can go ahead and take off. So we do a rolling call, which I like to do. It'll sound something like that. Key West traffic, Cessna 778 Mike Juliet rolling runway 27 circuits, Key West. So I've just told everyone that I'm just gonna do circuits. I've mentioned the runway so everyone know which runway is active. So it's a very simple analogy, just PAI, position, altitude, intentions. If you were flying and there was air traffic control service, you could sort of use the same pattern, because really this is the way any instruction would be given to you anyway. From air traffic control, it will say, okay, if you took off, for instance, and you call departure up, and then you tell them you're passing 2500, they'll give you a position check anyway. So they'll say something like Cessna 778 Mike Juliet, radar contact, passing 2500, climb by the seat, something like that. So you can see that most phraseology falls under the same pattern. Okay, so I'm just positioning my aircraft downwind here. There's not much wind today, so I can say something like Key West traffic, November 778 Mike Juliet, downwind, full touch and go, runway 27 Key West. That's it. Okay. Now, one thing to note, if you want to make this more realistic, don't forget to aviate, navigate, and communicate. So make sure you're flying the aeroplane first. Get that out of the way first, and then start to talk on the radio. Sometimes even me included, I get quite excited sometimes if I hear somebody else on the radio, or it gets busy. Very often we forget to fly the airplane, and then we start to inconvenience some people because we might miss an instruction from air traffic control, or we might see something different other than what we intend to do. So don't get too excited. Fly the aeroplane first, and then do everything else second. Okay, now if you're doing a circuit like this, for instance, now you don't have to report every leg. Typically, I'll just like to report downwind. I like to report base. And the reason for that, in real life, it's easier to see the aircraft when it's turning, so I like to transmit when I'm turning, because the wings are at that angle, and it makes it easier for everyone to see where you are. So if I'm turning base, I'll just say something like US traffic, November, correction, Cessna 778 Mike Juliet, turning base runway 27 full stop, correction, touch and go, Key West. So something like that. Okay, I'm a little bit too close to the runway. That's all fine. I just keep this simple, really. And CTAF is really a good way. I've always shot a center line, but CTAF is a really good way. I keep saying CTAF. It's actually UNICOM, but that's the difference between UNICOM and CTAF, which I'll talk about in a sec when we're on downwind in real life. But we call it UNICOM because it's universal communication on VATSIM. Just make things a lot easier. It's one frequency. You don't have to remember different frequencies, look up charts and stuff like that. So if you're all offline, to keep it simple, you are on UNICOM. That's it. Okay, so don't be afraid. Don't get confused. Sometimes if you're departing from this is a very bad circuit, by the way. If you're departing from a control zone, the control airspace, and the controller hands you over and says, okay, departures on Unicom. Yeah, just go over to 122.8. Yeah, and then just do as I've told you. Position, altitude, intentions. Okay. So the difference between in real life Unicom and CTAF is that in some places, some airports that you go to, there's actually somebody on Unicom, but that person's not air traffic controller. It could be a dispatch officer. It could be the person that's looking after the airport that you're flying to, or the airstrip you're flying to. For instance, for example, Telluride actually has a Unicom. So that person, if you call up Unicom on the CTAF frequency, you can actually ask that person for some information regarding the airport itself, like whether, when, if any ramp is available, if the fuel pump is working or not, the fuel pump, the fuel bowser is working or not, stuff like that. So that's the difference, really. There's actually somebody that's giving you information about the place that you're flying to. So it's a little bit different. But not to be confused, Unicom is just the frequency that we all, the common frequency that we all use when you're not in controlled airspace, really. So I hope you guys found this video useful. This analogy can be used, or workflow cycle, whatever you call it, can be used even in controlled airspace. Don't limit yourself to just CTAF, but the way you pass your message is the same, pretty much. Even if you're in controlled airspace, clear for takeoff, blah blah blah, it's the same thing. Your position, your altitude, intentions, exactly the same. I hope this was useful. I'm just gonna do a full stop here, just to show you real quick, and then yeah, we'll sign off. Okay, so if you're doing a full stop, it sounds something like that. Key West traffic, November 778 Mike, Juliet, downwind, runway 27, full stop, Key West. So if you notice, when I'm transmitting, the TX button over here lights up, which lets me know I'm transmitting. In the actual aeroplane, if you're transmitting, if you're on a Cessna, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's some lights that illuminate, either the COM1 speaker mic illuminates, or there'll be a TX somewhere. Sometimes it could be on the transponder. If you're flying a 737 or a 320, it will appear on your MFD. Yeah, but just make sure that the TX light is illuminated, so that you know. So just fly this plane a little bit better, so that you know you're transmitting. And if you're receiving, the RX light would light up. So TX stands for you're transmitting, and RX stands for receiving. Okay, let's see how I'm doing. Okay, let's look out the window. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Okay, still not great, but better. Okay, ideally you want to descend less than 500 feet per minute, and try to be about 700 feet before you turn to your final. Now don't be afraid if you miss calls, you're joining the circuit whatsoever, it doesn't matter, as long as you tell everybody where you are, or you remember to do it. It's common courtesy, and you're not going to be in trouble. Okay, much better. Let's get the approach speed under control. Okay, some more final. So say something like Key West traffic, Cessna 778 Mike Juliet, final runway 27, full stop, Key West. Just like that. Keep it simple, keep it short. Position, altitude, and intentions. Alright, let me just close off the video by doing hopefully a good landing. Just watch the airspeed. I like this aeroplane a lot, it's very stable. Being a default plane and all that. Yeah, it's just really forgiving. And also because there's no wind and there's nobody else. Idle, gently round up, straight and level. Okay, it's a little bit hard. Alright, that's fine. Taxiway to exit. There should be one right up here. Get rid of the flaps. Also, just to add, once you've landed, it'd be really useful to tell everyone that you've vacated the runway so people can use it again. So you'll sound something like that. Okay, once you have left the runway, you can go Key West traffic, 778 Mike Juliet, runway 27 vacated, taxiing to the ramp, Key West. So in this case, everyone would know, okay, runway 27 is now available. And it's also very useful in IMC, IFR conditions, IMC correction, IFR conditions. Sometimes if the weather is really poor and visibility is really poor, you know, position reports and using the radio as well will help you separate yourself from other traffic and keep everybody aware of your positions. But this is just a very basic, simple tutorial, just to tell you, just to show you how to get your feet wet in UNICOM or /CTAF communications. Alright, I hope this video was useful. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys have a good time flying. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. I'm just gonna stop somewhere here. There we go. Now we'll shut down. Alright, thanks for watching guys. See you later. Bye.